We're still in Chapter 1, Embracing Your Inner Critic. This is the 7th part of Chapter 1, and this is the second part inside of the exercises in Chapter 1, the home stretch. Write down your mother's favorite judgmental comments about you. If she did not say these out loud, what was it about you that she knew displeased her? Number 3, think of the ways in which your mother judged other people. Write down some of her favorite judgments about others. 4, write down some judgmental comments that your father made about you when he criticized you. If he did not say these out loud, what was it about you that you knew displeased him? Number 5, think of the ways in which your father judged other people. Write down his favorite judgments of others. Number 6, what were the worst characteristics that a person could have according to your grade school classmates? Number 7, what were the worst characteristics that a person could have according to your high school classmates? Number 8, what were the worst characteristics that a person could have according to your college classmates? Number 9, what are the worst characteristics that a person could have according to your current friends? Now you can see the origin of some of the most popular scripts used on your special station, Crazy. You are beginning to gain some separation from your inner critic. Bullet, strengthening the aware ego, discovering the primary and disowned selves. This is really big. Now, this is a comment from me. This is really, really big to begin to see this. We have decided, based on how we lived our lives and what we saw in our experiences, who or what characteristics of us that we would allow to hold the reins in our life and be the driver, be the person, be the personality that ran the show. And so this is really important to take a look and see, who have I put behind the wheel of my life, and who would I like to be behind the wheel? Because at this point, what we're learning is that it's been sort of dictated to us who would be the driver in our lives. And now we get to see, who is it that we would like to be the driver? So it's all really, really empowering and interesting and life-changing. Okay, I'll begin now. The following exercises will help you to discover your own primary and disowned self system. This is fascinating work and of the utmost importance in developing an aware ego that can be truly objective. 1, in order to discover your primary selves, you begin looking for your disowned selves. There is a simple, straightforward way for you to discover these selves, because the people whom we judge and dislike are carrying our disowned selves. Think of somebody in your life whom you really do not like, somebody who pushes your emotional buttons. This should be someone who makes you feel self-righteous and superior. Get a clear picture of this person. What is it about this person that you really judge? When you figure this out, you have discovered a disowned self. For instance, you might dislike your mother-in-law. As you think about what it is that you particularly dislike, you realize that she is very needy and she wants others to take care of her. You would never ever want to be like that. This then is your disowned self. You have disowned your needy child who wants others to take care of her. Now to the discovery of your primary self. Your primary self is the opposite of your disowned self. To continue with our example, you would think of how you are opposite in character to your mother-in-law. You, in contrast to her, are self-sufficient and would never think of asking anyone for attention or help. You are independent. You take care of yourself, and you are proud of it. Thus, one of your most important primary selves is an independent self. This next step is optional. Now, you can have discovered your primary self, your independent self who really does not need anyone else. You might want to imagine at what point in your life it was born and how it served to protect you, and particularly the vulnerable child in you. Perhaps your family was chaotic and there was really nobody that you could depend on. This independent, self-sufficient self would have figured out how you could make it through life on your own. It would have protected you. Or perhaps your mother was needy. Nobody respected her, and she was a victim to your father and to the world in general. It was apparent that neediness was not safe. So a primary self that was independent and self-sufficient developed to protect your vulnerable child and keep you strong. The second way that you can discover a disowned self is by looking at someone you overvalue. The people whom you overvalue, the ones who make you feel inferior, carry your disowned selves. Think of someone you overvalue. This is not someone you just admire, but someone who makes you feel bad about yourself in comparison. Again, you will have discovered a disowned self. Perhaps you admire your best friend's ability to be rational and in control. You, in contrast, always seem to get emotional and confused when something is important to you. You wish that you could be calm, cool, and collected like she is. In fact, when you are with her, or even think about her, you seem to get more emotional and confused than usual. She is showing you a disowned self. You have disowned your own rational, controlled part. Now, look for your primary self. How is it that you are opposites? You are far more emotional. Your primary self is emotional and not controlled. Again, if you wish, move on to the next step. Why do you think you developed such a primary self? Perhaps that is the way your entire family was. Emotions were admired and encouraged, and being in control was judged as constricted and uptight. Or perhaps one of your parents was so cold and controlled that you did not want to be like that, and your development moved in the opposite direction. Number 3, now that you have begun to separate from your primary selves, you will make an interesting discovery about your inner critic. One of your inner critic's major tasks in life is to support these primary selves and to criticize anything that has to do with your disowned selves. Therefore, the value system of your primary selves has been determining the specific content of your critic's judgments. Thus, as you separate from your primary selves and develop an aware ego, fewer judgments are necessary to support your primary self system, and you will find that your critic begins to lose some of its power. Okay, so that was the end of chapter 1. Those are super, super important exercises to do. These things could really feel heavy. Now I want to make sure that you know that it will not always feel this way. It feels uncomfortable because you're going against what you're used to. We do not like change as people. We like things to stay the same. And here in this portion that we are trying to change and take a look at, we know that it's something that we feel on the inside of us may be dangerous for us. So we are going to resist it. Bring up your aware self. Bring up your observer self. And just watch it happen and push through the uncomfortable feeling and do the exercises. You don't have to feel that you have given the reins over to that disowned self. All you have to do is the exercises. No one is making you. You are not making yourself do anything other than observe and see. And then you get to make a decision on how you want to live your life moving forward. What personality you will prefer to be in the driver's seat of your life. But this is all about just observing. There is nothing more that you need to do. And I'm just letting you know that, yes, it may feel very constricting and very difficult. And you may have a lot of arguments to why this is not right, why it's not a disowned self. It's okay, and it's going to happen. Just allow it to happen and know that it's normal, okay? All right, we're moving on to chapter 2 now. See you in the next audio.